Hello and welcome to episode 122, where I'm going to be talking about seasonal regimes. Ayurveda teaches us the importance of Ritucharya or seasonal regimes to assist us in maintaining balance and preventing dis-ease during the joint of the seasons when the changes in weather can have a huge impact on us physically and mentally. So stay tuned for all the advice and tips from Ayurveda. Hello and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend you listen to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. I've also set up a Facebook group for us to connect and to support each other, and I'd love for you to join me over at Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And now, here's the show. Welcome back to Elements of Ayurveda, and today it's me, Colette, talking about seasonal regimes, or Ritucharya as they're called in Ayurveda. Now, this is a very important topic at this time of year, as no matter whether we're living in the northern or the southern hemisphere, we're all going to experience seasonal change very soon. It's right on our doorstep. Now, back in episode 115, I talked about Shwashtavrita. Shwashtavrita is the science of Ayurvedic prevention. And the goal of Shwashtavrita is to achieve, maintain, and preserve health and prevent disease in the body and mind. And Ayurveda is all about prevention. So it's really to establish ourselves in our unique mind-body type, to understanding our constitution, living in accordance with our true nature, and really important to live in accordance and in tune with Mother Nature. And that's what I want to talk about today. Ayurveda teaches us how to live in tune with nature. And it does this by helping us understand the circadian rhythms and how to implement our dinacharya or our daily routines to live in tune with these circadian rhythms. So we're going with the energy, the flow of nature, rather than going against it and suffering. Ayurveda also teaches about our nightly routines or Ritucharya. And like I said a moment ago, Ritucharya or seasonal routines. I've talked a lot in the past on other episodes about daily and nightly routines. And I also have that online self-paced Daily Habits for a Holistic Health course set up that's available year-round. Like I said, it's self-paced to support you in implementing those routines, to educate you on how to live in tune with the circadian rhythms and to keep your body and mind in balance. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the show notes. But today I really want to delve deep into Ritucharya. Now let's explain a little bit about this Sanskrit word. Well, Ritu means season and Charya means discipline or regime. Now Ayurveda teaches us the importance of seasonal regimes to assist in maintaining balance and preventing disease during the joint of the seasons when there is this change in the weather. And this can really have a huge impact on our bodies and our minds, both physically and mentally. With the suggested Ritucharya from Ayurveda, we can maintain balance of the doshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, maintain balance of the mental gunas of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. We can prevent seasonal sickness, and it can really help us smoothly transition into the coming season. This understanding of tuning into nature not only comes from Ayurveda, which is thousands of years old as we know, but also it was noted by Hippocrates, who is known as the father of modern medicine. Hippocrates is known for saying whoever wishes to investigate medicine properly should proceed thus in the first place to consider the seasons of the year and what effect each of them produces. So Hippocrates understood the importance of living in tune with the seasons and living in tune with nature. Ayurveda, the manual for life, gives us lots of information and guidelines and teaches us how to adjust our diet and lifestyle in response to these environmental changes so that we can maintain balance and prevent illness. However, our modern lifestyle has resulted in a disconnection from nature. And as a result, we're not adjusting to the seasons. We're not eating the seasonal foods from nature, which help to keep us in balance. And this results in an aggravation of the doshas. Now, we can see these aggravations manifesting in a variety of different ways, and it'll be individual to each person. But just some examples of this are congestion, colds, and allergies, which tend to appear in Kapha season, and in the northern hemisphere that would be springtime. And this will result if we don't make the adjustments in diet and lifestyle to cleanse out any buildup of the Kapha dosha at the end of winter. This is when that sluggish, heavy quality of Kapha takes hold and can result in things like congestion, colds, and allergies. Skin aggravations, digestive problems, heated emotions. This can rise in autumn if we don't cleanse out the excess Pitta heat from the end of summer or whenever our hot season is. And then Vata aggravations can occur at the end of Vata season in the northern hemisphere. That would be in autumn if we don't cleanse out the excess Pitta accumulated during the summer. This can result in being more sensitive to the dry, the light, the mobile qualities of Vata season, which then in turn can result in dryness in the body, dryness in the bowel movements, respiratory problems, mental imbalances, flu in winter, and so on. So there are just to name a few general examples of what could happen if we don't take care of these aggravations in the doshas. It will result in aggravations in our body and in our mind. And of course, if we don't take care of these imbalances in the doshas, it can lead to further, more serious problems down the line. And I discussed this in detail in episode number 64, called The 6 Stages of Disease, which details the progression of disease from aggravated dosha to illness. So this is amazing information given to us by Ayurveda, and I really recommend you check that episode out, number 64. But we do not have to suffer through these aggravations of the doshas. We can prevent all this. We can prevent the aggravation of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha just by understanding and putting into practice this wisdom shared by Ayurveda, which is called Ritucharya. By simply living in tune with nature and establishing seasonal discipline, we can maintain balance of the doshas and thrive physically and mentally, all while preventing any dis-ease in the body and mind. It's not really the calendar, but nature that tells us when and which dosha will be influenced. That is why we see variations in seasons in different places around the world. And we need to remember the saying, as is the macrocosm, so is the microcosm. So the macrocosm, nature, influences the microcosm, which is our body. So let's go into how we know when the doshas appear in the macrocosm, in the environment. Well, let's start with Kapha. When the qualities of Kapha appear in the environment, those qualities are cold and moist and heavy. This is when the weather is cold and wet and humid and really saturating the earth. Kapha is high in the environment, the macrocosm, and therefore it will affect our Kapha dosha in our body, the microcosm. In the northern hemisphere, this is generally in late winter and spring, with a real accumulation of Kapha at the end of this season. Now, Pitta is elevated when the qualities of Pitta appear in the environment. Qualities like light, hot, and sharp. So this will be when the weather is hot, the sun is bright, light, and the heat is sharp or intense. In the northern hemisphere, this is generally in summer, and then there's an accumulation of Pitta at the end of summer. And finally, Vata is elevated when the qualities of dry, light, cold, and mobile rise in the environment. So this appears when the weather is windy, that would be mobile, cool, dry, and perhaps with low humidity, so there's less moisture. In the Northern Hemisphere, this is generally in autumn and early winter. Now, I'm going to give you advice for each season in a moment, but first I want to talk about cleansing, because this is so important in Ayurveda. Ayurveda really recommends seasonal cleansing at the joint of the seasons between winter and spring and between summer and autumn to remove the excess or aggravated doshas. And in Ayurveda, it's called Ritucharya. Now, Ritu means season, and Sandhi means the joint or period that joins the two seasons. So Ritucharya is the period between seasons, beginning approximately 8 days before the end of the previous season and ending 8 days after the beginning of the following season. So it typically lasts for about 15 days. So why do we need to cleanse? Well, by the end of each season, the qualities of that season begin to accumulate in our body and in our mind. For example, at the end of Kapha season, which is springtime in the Northern Hemisphere, there can be an accumulation of heavy, moist, cold, sluggish qualities of Kapha. This accumulation can lead to an aggravation of the doshas, particularly the Kapha dosha, because we need to remember that like increases like. So those like qualities of Kapha in the environment are increasing the Kapha dosha in our body. So our body has become accustomed to living in a certain climate and eating certain foods from the previous season. Now, if we don't shift our foods to that of the new season, this can really lead to imbalances. For example, if we continue to eat heavy grounding comfort foods of winter in spring, this will really aggravate Kapha further, as Kapha is already heavy. Again, remembering that like increases like and opposites pacify principle of Ayurveda here. Now, as the weather begins to change, and sometimes it goes back and forth between seasons during the transition of the seasons, this can really cause confusion in our digestive system, which can lead to digestive problems. And Ayurveda teaches us that undigested food results in toxins or ama. Now, according to Ayurveda, these toxins or ama are the main cause for dis-ease in the body and mind. This is why a great emphasis is put on the removal of toxins in Ayurvedic medicine. Really detoxifying the body in regular intervals is an important contribution to disease prevention. And in particular, during this transition of the seasons, when the weather can go between one season and the next, it's really important to cleanse during this time, because our body becomes confused, our digestion becomes confused. We don't know whether we want the foods of the past season or the coming season. So doing a cleanse will really help your body transition during this time. Really getting rid of the toxins that can manifest in the body. And if we have a presence of toxins in the body of ama due to the disturbance in the digestive system during the transition of the seasons, therefore the food is not being digested properly and resulting in toxins, this can have us feeling run down, can have us feeling sluggish, lethargic, just a general lack of energy. Can also cause weak digestion. Maybe you're feeling bloated or heaviness or lethargic after meals or excessive gas. It can cause irregular bowel movements, or the bowel movements may be loose, or they may be dry, or there could be constipation. There could be a foggy mind and an inability to concentrate and focus. This could result in an abnormal coated tongue. So that's one place we'll see that ama build up in the morning on the tongue if it's thicker. In last week's podcast, actually, I went over tongue diagnosis. So check that out, episode number 121. We talked how to recognize what your tongue is trying to tell you, but you may notice that there's a buildup of ama on the tongue around the change of seasons as your digestive system is having difficulty with this transition. You just may be feeling a general feeling of out of balance, and of course a weakened immune system can result because of this. Now, what are the benefits of Ayurvedic cleanses? Well, you receive a cleanse, hopefully that's tailored to you. As we know in Ayurveda, there's no one size fits all, so it's really important that the cleanse is tailored to you. There are lots of cleanses that are available online, but what I find and what many of my clients have noticed when they do these cleanses, because it's not tailored to them, it can really aggravate their doshas more. So it's hard to follow a one size fits all cleanse. It's really best to get it tailored to you. The Ayurvedic cleanse is really nurturing, and it's all natural with whole food recipes. The cleanse will really help you eliminate toxins, not only physical toxins that are stored in the fat cells, but also any undigested emotional toxins that are really holding you back. This cleanse will help improve elimination. It helps you maintain a healthy body weight for your constitution. And also, Ayurvedic cleanses are holistic. Hopefully with a cleanse, you will receive yoga and meditation and pranayama, because this is as important as the foods during cleansing. When you do an Ayurvedic cleanse, you'll have mental clarity and improved awareness. You'll have a calm nervous system. You'll have daily self-care practices that help you keep you in tune with the circadian rhythms. You'll have improved sleep. And what's really nice about the Ayurvedic cleanses is afterwards, they have this period of rejuvenation that's built in post-cleanse to help you restore balance and clarity and energy. So, if you're interested in doing a cleanse, I have a seasonal cleanse coming up. It's a group discounted seasonal cleanse, and it's starting on the equinox, the spring equinox, March 20th. This is an online cleanse. It's tailored to you. It has yoga and breath practices and meditation. And it doesn't matter if you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. It doesn't matter what season you're going into, because, like I said, it will be tailored to you. In my cleanse, it starts with a private 90-minute online consultation with me, where I'll tailor the cleanse to your unique physical and mental constitution and address any current imbalances you have. I have a private page on my website where you'll get weekly coaching webinars along with lots of education. You'll get meditation tutorial, yoga videos for your dosha, pranayama tutorials, of course, all the recipes. And I give a lot of support during my cleanses. So I am there to support you and to make any adjustments if necessary throughout the cleanse. And also I provide a private Facebook group that's a very supportive community to help each other as you go through the process. So let me tell you a little bit about the cleanse structure. First of all, there's no fasting in this cleanse. It's a nurturing whole food cleanse, and it consists of 3 stages. The first one is for the first 7 days, you're just doing preparation. And this is really important, because if you went straight into a cleanse and you went from drinking caffeine and then suddenly not drinking caffeine or having a lot of processed foods, or, if you went just straight into a cleanse, it could lead to a really severe reaction from your body, particularly like headaches from caffeine withdrawal and so on. So the prep week is really important. And this is where you gradually, over the first 7 days, start to eliminate caffeine, processed foods, refined sugars. And then you also have a natural digestive tea to take to stimulate the digestion to prepare your body for cleansing. So there's no particular foods to eat in week 1. However, in your private consult, I will give you some guidance on what to eat during that week. But the main cleanse period is from days 8 to 16. And this is where you will be given recipes tailored to you. And you're having, 3 meals. And some people have snacks if it's necessary for them. Easy digestible meals that are tailored to your needs in order to bring your body and mind into balance. So that's the week 2. And then in week 2, we also incorporate a lot of daily routines, morning and nighttime routines, yoga, breath work, and meditation. And of course, again, it's tailored to your lifestyle. So this cleanse really allows you to hit the reset button to unpack any physical and or emotional toxins holding you back from living a healthy, happy, and fulfilling life. And like I said, during the cleanse, I really guide and support and educate you on how to bring your body, mind, and soul into balance. And we'll go through the process as a community and really supporting each other. So if you're interested, check out the link in the show notes or go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And if you go to the events tab, you'll find the seasonal cleanse starting March 20th there. Or if that timing doesn't suit you, just go to the programs page under services and you'll find the private cleanse there, and you can do that at any time. Okay, so now I've talked about cleansing and the importance of that, but I also want to leave you today with some general advice on how to modify your diet and lifestyle to match the seasons. So let's start with Kapha season. As I said earlier, Kapha season is when the qualities of Kapha appear in our environment. As a reminder, that's when it's cold and moist and heavy, when the weather is cold and wet and humid and really saturating the earth. It may be as if you're in the snowy climate as the snow begins to melt and everything's soggy. So those people with a high kapha constitution or a kapha aggravation will be very sensitive to this kapha season, and particularly at the end of the season. However, we all need to adjust our diet and lifestyle to balance kapha, and we achieve this by bringing in the opposite qualities. Remember the Ayurvedic principle, like increases like and opposites pacify or balance. So to counter the cold, heavy, moist qualities of kapha, we want to bring in the opposite qualities of warm, light, and dry. Of course, it's best to get advice tailored to your unique constitution and to your current situation, but I'm going to give general advice here on how we try to balance kapha. So bringing in the opposite quality of dry, you could do this by broiling your food or baking your food or grilling your food. You want to have food that's less soggy. So doing those cooking techniques will help bring in that dry quality. Bringing in warmth with, of course, warm foods, and adding warming spices to your foods and drinks like ginger, cinnamon, and cumin. You want to avoid the heavy quality, so avoiding dairy, avoiding heavy, rich, creamy comfort foods that maybe you were eating in wintertime, and now you want to lighten things up, so avoiding that heavy food. Eating more fiber with seasonal veggies will really help in aiding elimination, as kapha also has that sluggish quality. So lots of fiber, lots of liquids with the fiber to aid in elimination, and again, warm liquids. Avoiding salty, sweet and sour tastes, which can aggravate kapha. Pungent, bitter, and astringent tastes pacify kapha. Again, all this really needs to be tailored to each individual. You need to take into account your unique constitution and what's your second dosha and so on, and the ratio of doshas in your constitution. But in general, avoiding salt, sweet, and sour, as they tend to aggravate vata, and bringing in more warming spices, more bitter greens, some bitter foods, and more astringent. Astringent means that it draws water from the body, and we're trying to get rid of that excess moisture. Another tip is to keep active, to create heat in the body, which will not only help warm the body, but also to circulate the blood and move the lymph as well around the body to boost our immunity. So you want to get the heart pumping, which is going to encourage the lymph to move around and not to be so stagnant, which is a tendency of kapha, and to really boost the immune system. Dry brushing is also a great way to improve circulation for kapha, and performing an oil massage as well. Post dry brushing, I think, is good with something like a light sunflower oil. So the lightness of sunflower oil will counter the heaviness of this season. So that's a good oil for kapha. So there are some general tips for balancing kapha during and particularly at the end of kapha season. Now let's talk about Pitta season. Well, Pitta season is when the qualities of Pitta appear in our environment. Qualities like hot, light, and sharp. Examples of this is when the weather is hot, the sun is bright, and the heat is sharp or intense. Now, as you can imagine, people with a high Pitta constitution or people that have a Pitta aggravation will be more sensitive to this rise of Pitta in the environment. However, we should all be aware of these changes and adjust our diet and lifestyle accordingly. To counter the hot, bright, and sharp qualities of Pitta season, we want to bring in the opposite qualities of cool, heavy, and bland. And here are some general guidelines. So bringing in the cool quality by eating cooling foods. Now, these are not foods that are cold in temperature, but foods that have a cooling quality according to Ayurveda. Coconut has a cooling quality. So too does cilantro and coriander, mint and fennel. Bringing in cool qualities by wearing breathable fabrics. And Ayurveda recommends wearing cooler colors that can help also. Avoiding sharp tastes, particularly pungent tastes, pungent spices, and avoiding nightshades, which can aggravate Pitta. Things like tomatoes, eggplant, white potatoes, and peppers. Also avoid sharp flavors like sour, salty, caffeine, and alcohol. And just a reminder again, this is general advice, and you're better off getting advice tailored to you, but This is generally advice for balancing Pitta in the Pitta season. Bringing in sweet, bitter, and astringent taste can help to pacify Pitta. Also, eating fruits and vegetables that are local and in season. This will help pacify Pitta, and Mother Nature provides us with what we need to maintain balance, and things that you may find during Pitta season are like watermelon, very cooling, and mango, and a lot of really cooling fruits and vegetables. So if you're unsure, eat what's in season. That's a great way to keep in touch with Mother Nature, because she's got you. She's going to provide you with things that keep you in balance. Another tip for keeping Pitta in balance is to avoid intense heat of the midday sun. Definitely no exercising at this time of day. That will really aggravate Pitta. Also, coconut oil is very cooling, and you could use this for your daily oil massage to help cool down the body, allowing the oil to sit on your skin for about 15 to 20 minutes and then wash off the excess. It's important to wash off the excess oil, because otherwise the oil can create a heat trap, and that could lead to skin aggravations, especially for the Pitta dosha, which has a tendency to manifest aggravated Pitta on the skin. So really important to wash off any excess oil that's sitting on your skin. Okay, finally, let's look at a Vata season. So Vata season is when the qualities of dry, light, cold, and mobile rise in the environment. This appears when the weather is windy, when it's mobile, cool and dry with low humidity. This is when those with a high Vata constitution or Vata aggravation are very sensitive to these conditions and really need to be aware of maintaining balance. But like I said before, we all need to be aware of bringing in a Vata balancing diet and lifestyle practices at this time. And we can do that by bringing in the opposite qualities. So an opposite quality would be bringing in warmth, heavy, moist, and grounding qualities to counter the dry, light, cold, and mobile qualities of Vata. These qualities can be brought in with warm, moist, grounding foods like soups and stews and dal and seasonal root vegetables, because they're very grounding, grains and pasta. Adding good fats to your meals like ghee or sesame oil, and also adding warming spices like black pepper, ginger, cumin to your food or in herbal teas. Sipping on these herbal teas, warm drinks throughout the day, really important to prevent that dryness. Warming spices like cinnamon, which really is good for Vata because cinnamon transports the heat to the extremities. Ginger, clove, and nutmeg, which is a great calming sedative, which is a wonderful spice to add to your nighttime, maybe your golden turmeric milk at night. Avoiding cold, raw, and dry foods, and foods that are light, like popcorn or rice cakes or sprouts, because remember, we want to bring more of a heavy quality. Avoiding pungent, astringent, and overly bitter tastes, really favoring sweet, sour, and salty to help pacify Vata. Again, this needs to be tailored to each person, but this is general advice. Activities like restorative yoga, yin yoga, yoga nidra, really great. Calming practices, mindfulness practices like meditation and alternate nostril breathing or nadi shodhana is wonderful. Weights are wonderful, doing some weight training, nothing too intense, but that heaviness of the weight are very good for balancing Vata. Bringing in a calming evening practice to really calm the nervous system, getting yourself ready for a good night's sleep, which can sometimes be an issue if your Vata is aggravated. It can sometimes result in difficulty falling to sleep or insomnia. So having a really calming nighttime routine, massaging with sesame oil, unplugging from technology, really doing some nice calming practices in the evening, something you enjoy, creative activity that helps to calm your mind would be really ideal. And for Vata, really important to avoid excess travel, avoid sensory overload, stress, avoiding that, avoiding windy conditions, or avoiding any fans or air conditioning. And wearing warm colors as well is always good for Vata. Vata tends to be cold, so wearing some nice warm bright colors and covering your head and neck if you are going out in windy conditions is really important. So there you go. There are my tips to help keep you in balance for each of the seasons. If you're interested in getting some support around this seasonal transition, particularly if you're prone to getting sick or if you're feeling like you have a build-up of toxins or just feeling out of balance, then please check out the link in the show notes to the seasonal cleanse. The discounted group cleanse is starting March 20th. Or you can check out the private cleanse, which you can do at any time. If you want to chat with me, take advantage of my services inquiry call. It's a free online call if you have questions before we get started. But I felt like I detailed a lot about the cleanse in this show today. So there you go. I hope this information helps to keep you balanced during the season, that you're feeling vibrant and thriving in life. If you think this episode will be helpful to family or friends, please share it with them. Please also make sure you subscribe. And thank you so much. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate your support. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and ciao for now.